G'day and welcome to this video tutorial where we are going to discuss the status bar. In my opinion, the status bar is the most neglected piece of real estate on the Excel window. A lot of people don't look at it, and because they don't know what's going on the status bar, they're obviously missing out on a lot of very important information. So first of all, where exactly is the status bar? The status bar is right down below underneath your worksheet tabs. It's this very last line that you see here on your Excel window. I'm going to show you in a minute that there's a lot of very important data that occurs down there. And like I said, because you're not looking at it, you obviously are missing out on a lot of important data. First of all, let's start on the left-hand side. You'll notice that the word ready is there. I'm not sure if you've ever paid much attention to that word ready, but right now it says ready. And when I click inside a cell and I type something, without having to press enter, you'll notice that the status just changed from ready to enter, and Excel is telling you that you'll need to enter. So I'm going to press enter, and now it goes back to ready. Now I'm going to go back inside that cell and I'm going to double click in between the 1 and the 2 because maybe I want to put something in between the 1 and the 2. However, watch on the status bar. You notice that the status once again changed from ready and now it says edit because it's telling you the mode that you're in. I'm in an edit mode. And now I'll press enter. So every now and then you'll see the status change from ready to enter to edit. However, let me show you another thing that you'll see down there as well. Imagine that I'm going to write a formula. I'll type in equal, and now I'm going to select these 4 cells. Now you'll notice that I didn't select F8, and I need to go all the way to F8. However, instead of picking up my mouse, I actually want to use my arrow key. If I now use my arrow key, because now I want to move the cursor from where the 8 finishes there, and I want to bring it over right next to the E so I can backspace and get rid of the letter E and replace it with the letter F. Watch what happens when I use the arrow key. It messes up my formula. Why is that? Because if you take a look at the status bar again way down below, the mode right now is on point. That means I can use my mouse and point to wherever cell I'm actually clicking on. But I want to change the mode from point and I want to put it to edit so I can actually use my keyboard. If I press the F2 key on my keyboard, let me first of all select these 4 cells. And you notice it's still saying point. If I now press the F2 key on my keyboard, it just changed the mode from point to edit. And now I can actually use my arrow keys to move wherever I want to go. And now I just press enter. So keep a lookout on the status bar. That ready mode will change depending on what you are currently doing. You'll also notice something else on your status bar. It's telling you that your caps lock button is on. So if you're constantly looking at your screen and you're not looking down at your keyboard, that will tell you that your caps lock button is on. Your numbers lock button is also on as well. That little icon that you see right next to numlock, that's your macro recording button. So if you record macros all day long, you don't have to reach for your mouse and go all the way up to your ribbon and go up to your developer tab and then click on the record macro button. You can just click on it from here, from your status bar. Now if I just hover my mouse over that button without actually clicking on it, you can actually see that that is my macros button. It says no macros are currently recording. Click to begin recording a new macro. Once you click on it and you start recording your macro button, this icon that you see here will actually change shape. So it will actually tell you whether you're actually recording or not. You see the same button also on your developer tab and also on your view tab. But again, why do I need to go up all the way up to the ribbon when I can see that on my status bar? Now there's other things I also want to show you on your status bar as well, which is great when you're doing calculations. Imagine it's late in the afternoon and I don't have the energy to add things up in my head, and I really don't need to do formulas. Basically what I want to do is I want to add these two cells, but I don't have the energy to add it up in my head. Once I select the two cells, if you take a look at the status bar way down below, it tells me that the sum is 105. Wouldn't it be great if I just select this entire row here and I just wanted to know what is the total, which is actually 270 if I select these 5 cells. If I select this entire area here, maybe I want to know what is the sum total of all these numbers. Well, the status bar tells me that. Not only that, but it tells me how many cells I've actually counted. It gives me the average number. It gives me the min, gives me the max. It's actually doing about 5 functions at the same time. So if you're not looking at your status bar, you're obviously missing out on a lot of this information. Now, if you're going to go and try this out on your computer, there's something I need to warn you ahead of time. Some of these features may not be turned on, so you may need to customize your status bar in order to see all these things happening down below. And how you customize your status bar is you bring your mouse, your pointer, all the way down below, and you do a right click. And you notice at the top here it says customize the status bar. And what you can do is put a little check mark next to these things. So for some reason you are not seeing some numbers. Let's say, for example, I select a range of numbers and I don't see the average or the count or the min or the max. Most likely it's because these features are not turned on for you. So what you want to do is just a quick left click, turn these features on. Once they are turned on, you'll be able to see them on your status bar way down below, just like I'm seeing it right now. Now, all these things that you see down here on my status bar, I can actually turn them off and I can have a blank status bar way down below. So let me show you where these are. That word ready that you see on the extreme left-hand side, that comes from this cell here. If I turn off my caps lock and my num lock, there you go, they've all disappeared. The macros button comes from this option over here. On the right hand side of the status bar, you also see those icons. They also come from these shortcuts as well. So you notice if I turn these features on, then I don't have anything on my status bar. So that's why I said the very first step you want to do is to make sure that you customize your status bar. Come over here and turn all these features on. That way, when you are working in Excel, you'll be able to see all your data on your status bar. Going forward, I bet you're not going to overlook your status bar. You'll always be looking way down below. Thank you for watching. Now go out and put this into practice.